We're always in our clubhouse getting high. Super fuckers! Everybody wishes we would die. Super fuckers! Here we come like a bomb. Everybody fucking run and hide.
Hey, it's the RebelTaxi Pizza Party podcast, and now we're on Spotify, finally.
We are?
Ooh.
This feels weird. I don't like it.
Podbean allows you to go on iTunes and Spotify, thankfully.
Ooh,
Did not know that, and
okay.
someone had to tell me.
We're so fancy now.
Yeah, this is the big
Only 150
leagues.
episodes in or something like that.
And we finally learned this information. That was useful.
It's really cool that podcasts can be on Spotify now. Like, I actually didn't know that.
Who are you?
Oh, God. Hi.
Who is
I'm
this?
here.
Who
Should I
are
introduce
you,
myself?
strange person?
I'm Viv.
Viv who?
Vivian Medrano. I'm VivziePop on the YouTube.com.
What are you here for? Who is this?
What am I here for? I guess I'm here.
That's such a meaning of life question.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what am I here for? To make cartoons, I guess.
Did Nolan let you in? Is he here? No, he's not here.
Nolan?
No, he's not
Nolan.
here. He'll show up later.
He leaves a key under the mat in case he gets locked out, so.
Yeah.
He'll join later.
Yeah. So what are you here for? What exactly do you do? I don't know which question to ask first.
What am I here for? Why would you? I guess I'm here because I made a cartoon and it's out now, finally, after a couple of years of being in the works. Yay! It's done. Thank you.
Yay!
And thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
I think
thank
we've
you
been
for
meaning to have
coming
you
on.
Yeah, I think we've been meaning to have you on forever. I don't know why. I swear you showed interest earlier, a long time ago, and we never got you in until now.
Yeah. I guess it's more relevant now. I have
Yeah.
a thing to be like, hey, there's this thing I made.
What'd you
yeah.
make?
I made the new cartoon, the new pilot rather, Hazbin Hotel that just came out, and it's a 30-minute cartoon about, it's an adult comedy about hell because I like hell.
I want to see a kids comedy about hell.
Oh, that's called Jimmy Two Shoes.
Didn't that have? I haven't seen that show, but I've seen like the character designs for it. Isn't that basically like? Aren't they like demons in that? Like the red?
Yeah, like there's characters named Lucifer or something close to Lucifer.
Nice.
Or Lucy,
Oh,
I guess.
I figure cursing's okay on this, right?
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know YouTube.
Okay, I want to clarify what you just walked in on. There was one episode where we started with Mickey Mouse small penis humiliation skit.
Oh my god.
The last episode, Pan spent like an hour talking about whether or not it's like essential to fuck ponies. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh my god. What?
you walked in the.
I mean,
wrong
it's
podcast.
all right.
Oh, was that because of My Little Ponies ending?
Yeah.
Okay. I
mean, it
was
was
like, what
important to, like-
context would that come into play other than me?
It was important
My
to
Little
figure that
Pony.
out, like, right there, because, like, we may never have another chance at this again, you know? I don't know, these things.
How are you going to fill up
I
the
don't know.
pony cum jar if you don't?
Oh, I think I heard about that. Is that a thing?
No, thanks.
I think I heard. I always hear things like sometimes just like, oh no, what is that? It's like the gamer girl bathwater. I was
no.
like, why?
I think my favorite is the My Little Pony plush of Lyra, the one that has, like, a little slit in the back for whatever you want it to be.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am
God.
not aware of any of this.
I think it costs, like,
It doesn't shock me, but it's also like, why?
I believe it costed, like, $1,500 on eBay or something. I don't know if that's true or not.
$1,500.
Supposedly. I don't know. It's been a
God.
while.
I saw how much they're
Oh.
selling those like body pillows for when I was
Oh
at
my god.
BronyCon, and I was like, wow, that is an industry, I guess. That is.
Yeah.
It is, but like,
Yeah.
Why?
The good times.
Yeah. And then
I
there
wonder
was
if
the-
Gen 5 will carry, will give us this kind of quality,
Do you think they already have like a reboot ready?
They've
Oh,
talked about it for
yes.
a long time, but I don't know if you could. I don't think doing a reboot right away is a good idea because that never works. Like doing a reboot right away, does that ever work? Like you have to give it time to breathe. What?
You'd think I won't say because I actually know the answer to that question, but
Okay, so yes.
I won't say yes or no, but I will say studios like tend to not be very afraid to do things like right away. Like not even just speaking for them, just in general. Like I've been around like places where like they start planning a potential like reboot of a property like basically within the same time frame so that it's ready to go like pretty right after. And I think that's probably just because some don't know if one is going to be successful versus another one, you know? Like if one ends up being really big, then they're like, well, we don't need to do this other one. And maybe it's partially speculative because I'm also kind of like, it is fascinating to me because it's cool seeing how many franchises can be completely redone from scratch and like how many times they have been. Like that's why I really like Rise of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
So good.
Well, that is a good
so
example
cool.
of a show that like I don't think Ninja Turtles have been off the air for very long.
Exactly.
But,
yeah, that one was right away.
I think they announced it at the same time the one show was ending. Like
exactly, which means that they were making it before, like they already picked it up before that one was done.
Those are more rare occurrences because usually you have to wait, like give the audience time to breathe or like let nostalgia set in or something like that.
Well, it also depends on the series because like Transformers, you know that they're already planning like the next toy line, which has the next cartoon attached to it.
But that's different. That's like Power Rangers in a way in which it's like at the beginning they had a hard time, at least with Power Rangers, launching a different kind of brand with it. Or sub brand or whatever that was called. I don't know. But then eventually people are used to it. Like they expect a new Transformers cartoon with a new thing. Same with like how Power Rangers had Turbo and Wild Internet Force or something. I don't know.
Well, Power Rangers was interesting because they had like the same continuous story for half of the rename branding up until like In Space. And then it became this weird, like every series after that is its own universe, except for when it's not.
Yeah.
I kind of like how Rise of the TMNT, I liked how it came out right after the 2012 one canceled, since it's such a niche, weird little, feels like a weird little spin-off that it makes more sense to have it, you know, just there instantly instead of just giving it like 10 years and then a new Turtles thing.
Yeah.
Because there's already too much Turtles content.
Yeah, there's so much. And that's the one that fascinates me the most because like the original show is such a strange idea. Like when I was a kid, it was a little like too out there for me. Like I was like, I don't totally know why this is the thing, but like I thought it was fun. Like I was like, this is fun. I just never got into it. But it's fascinating that such a unique idea on its own has been like remade so many times. Like you'd think that that's kind of a one and done, but they've made it so many times. And then this newest one is the first one that got me into the property. So I'm like, yeah, because it's not like I have no issue with Turtles. It never grabbed me until this one. And I was
Same
like,
with Transformers, I never really
this.
cared.
Yeah. So it's cool that something so unique can be remade in so many different ways. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, go ahead, Pan.
Oh, we need like a ton of reboots with crazy different ideas. That way we can have video games that have crazy alternate costumes. Anyway, go on, Izzy.
I was just gonna say like Ninja Turtles, it went from like super comedy to super serious to being kind of this like hodgepodge of the two, and now we have this like really uniquely like animated version. Because like I wasn't the one thing that I will admit that I hate about the 2012 Turtles, the CG one, is I didn't like the fact that they didn't have noses. A big part of like the Turtles' design for me, at least, their face was that they had like big noses, and that was like the only reoccurring like element of design. And then that one was like, no, that's gone. They're flat.
Yeah. I never really cared for their Nerf designs, their Nerf football looking skin.
Yeah, I remember seeing the like clips from that one, and they have like really round heads, and it was a little weird.
Yeah, it's
I
like
love that in the new one they're like actually different turtles.
Yeah.
Like I think one's like a snapping turtle and one of them's like a slider, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I like it.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
But first, this podcast is supported by Patreons who donated $100. The first is The Comic Analog Farm. On analogfarm.com, a comic about a ruined city stunted in growth after a tragedy, and characters are just living through it. It's very much embedded in 2000s hip-hop and animation culture. Read it on analogfarm.com. Our other sponsor is the art house film Standards and Musings. It's what the creator Haruko Please describes as a shoddily animated series of shorts about self-hatred and surreal humor while descending into hell. It was made with $40 and can be watched with the links below. Support me by supporting them.
We now return to the Transformers.
But, Vivzie, what is Hazbin Hotel?
What is it? Okay, so it's a 30-minute adult animated comedy, so it's obviously like a bit raunchier. And my style, I feel like, is a lot more cartoony. So I think that like kind of it's like the super cartoony adult comedy about the Princess of Hell as she's trying to redeem like her people. And it kind of came about as like I really love villains and I really love villain backstories. So it's kind of like an excuse to have a whole show about villain backstories and like the most, like see which villain, like which characters can actually like become more like a protagonist. And the main character, it's almost like if like a Disney princess was like her domain was hell. So she like sings a lot and she's super musical, and it's a musical series. So it's like, it's all over the place. It's a lot of things, but it's been a project that I've had the characters since I was really young, and I've developed them over the years, and I just kind of decided to throw them to take them more seriously as in a series context and make this pilot.
So while you're causing water addictions, vegan lettuce, kick predictions, Asian all inclusive fiction, and right here, all complete, or space that we need, you'll be anything safe, yeah, fine, we'll be free at the heartbeat.
It's been a really, really crazy ride. Like when I first created the or when I started, rather, not created the characters, but when I started this project, I didn't expect it to be as big as it has become. And because of that, it's been a huge learning curve for me. And everyone involved is so talented that I feel like the final product is so much grander than I even originally envisioned for the project. So, so if anybody hasn't seen it, that's what it's just this big, huge 30-minute pilot for an adult animated comedy series about how.
Every so often, like I was at the mall or at the airport, and in real life I've seen like 3 people wearing Hazbin Hotel merch just
at
randomly.
The mall? Oh,
yeah,
that's crazy.
And once at the airport.
So, I've seen
at the airport. I thought you said the mall. I was like,
both.
The mall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've only heard seeing people at like cons having them on, and that makes a little bit more sense. But
I've seen cosplayers, which is always wild to me when before a show even comes out. Like people are that passionate about the designs.
That's what's craziest to me is that there was a lot of really huge support before we were even done, and we released a lot of clips before, like kind of leading up, like over the years of production. We've released like 2 trailers and like I forget how many clips, but like maybe like 5 clips, I think. So there was enough to like kind of give people a taste of what the humor was going to be like and the characters in action and the animation. But still, the fact that like so many people started cosplaying them and did fan art, like this amazing fan art, and like and bought merchandise. Like the only reason we started selling merchandise like as much as we became because not only was it really helping to finish everything faster and pay everybody more, but just people wanted it. People were asking for it. And we were like, well, maybe we should start doing some stuff with the characters people already know and stuff. And it's just crazy to me, though, because it's like it just came out as of yesterday. And it's like, it's only just out now. And there's already been people excited about it this whole time. That's really surreal to me. I have no idea. What about it like made this impression, but I'm honored by it.
I mean, at what point did you just say, yes, let's do this. Let's make a pilot now?
So this is a fun story. I won't get too into it because it's not the happiest of stories, but I was actually working with I will not name them for the time being, but they're after graduating college, I wanted to make my own original project. And originally it was going to be a big musical project, like a big, huge, like old school musical. I was in talks with some off-Broadway songwriters, and I have some friends who are Broadway performers, and I wanted to cast them, and it was going to be like this big thing. But I had no experience with like the union and like going through proper channels to cast certain actors. There were some actors I wanted to work with who were SAG, and they were up for it. But it was, for anyone who doesn't know, the process of like working with SAG actors is kind of its own thing. And when you don't know anything about the industry, it's tricky. So I was looking at a meeting. I'll just say meeting because to say where would probably narrow down the search a little bit. But at a meeting of artists, I met this guy who claimed to be a producer, and I was looking for a producer because I assumed that's what I needed, and because I didn't know anything about creating things. And I ended up working with him, and I worked with them for about a year, and it was a complete scam, an absolute scam. They took so much money from me. They strung me along for the better part of a year. It was horrible. And so a lot of my original savings, like my personal savings, almost everything I'd made from freelance after graduation was just gone. But I had enough, thanks to Patreon, to have a small budget for something. And I went, well, my dream of making this musical are dead. Like my dreams of making this musical with these big actors is dead. What should I do? And then I went, well, these characters of mine, I've had them for years. I love them to death. Why don't I just make something with them? And so I rounded up a lot of the original board artists were friends of mine. So I had a lot of friends, and the writers of the project were my friends. And we just got together, and they took my project as seriously as me. And we just wrote this thing. And so it literally started so long story short, like the starting of the pilot literally was just like all my other ambitious projects felt like they were out of reach. And I just wanted to do something safe and personal and with characters that I already really loved and wanted to do something with. And so I just kind of made the leap with them. But it wasn't, that's why whenever when the fact that it's gotten so big and grand and became a musical, and I ended up working with some of my Broadway friends, like it's surreal to me because that was not what this project started as. Like it started as the backup that I could do with my savings that I had left. And now it's become like the big thing that, that I originally had wanted to make. Like it became a big musical with a team and with actors, and it's very cool how that happened. But that's the initial push was just I was feeling very down about another project completely feeling like stolen from me, and so I went, let's just do this.
How long ago was this? Like 3 years or what?
That was about, I think we started it in, I want to say, I'm really bad with dates. Like time has like lost all me, all blends together now for me, especially like those years, because those years are also like I said, that had happened. And then there was also some personal life stuff that happened that year. So it was a very dark time for me. So I think it was 2016 was that year. Mm-hmm. It's like the 2016, 2017 era was kind of my like, I don't like, I'm like, it's so different now. But the that was, I think the year we started was 2016. And so it's been a while. Like it's been like, definitely over 2 years that we've been in production. Which is kind of
crazy.
Was it
mostly all just animation because was animation itself the longest process?
Yeah, it was. I think also our pipeline was relatively unconventional because like I've never run a project this big. I've run projects with teams, but that was like my thesis film, where the only things I had people helping me with were coloring, like flat coloring of the animation, and then the Die Young animation I did a couple years ago. I think I had some friends like do some little guest animation and some flat coloring, but most of the time I'm used to making everything myself. So this was the first time I was working with a team and actually like hiring people. So because of that, I feel like it was really unconventional. I didn't really want to enforce too many deadlines up front. I wanted to try to keep everything really like comfortable for everybody. And so different things would get done at different times. And we would also like shift things a little bit. Like some animators took longer time than others. So that's why like I think the thing we were working on till the end was backgrounds. I think backgrounds were probably the most time consuming of all the steps. But it's hard to gauge because like everybody worked at their own time frame, and we would kind of just finish everything as it came in. Like whenever the animators were done, the cleanup artists would start on like different shots, and it was kind of like whoever's available and stuff. So it was very unconventional in that sense. And since then, I've like the other projects I've started running are a lot more streamlined, where we have a deadline for the animation, and once the animation's done, the cleanup starts, and it's a little bit more like pipeline step, if that makes sense.
Please don't sing. This is serious.
Well, you know, I'm better at expressing myself and my goals through song.
But life isn't a musical, hun.
Fine, but I have these other ideas of what to say. The highlighted bits are the best parts.
It's all highlighted.
I think it's since now that you learned all this stuff, like if you had to start Hazbin Hotel like this pilot all over with the knowledge you know now, like what would you have done differently?
Oh man, so much. One thing I know me and the other writers talk about a lot is that like there's so many things that like I learned so much through creating it, and I think all my friends who helped me write, we all since it started to get big, I started to think about the show much more seriously. Like originally it was just like, this is a fun short. It's definitely a pilot, but like it wasn't. Through creating it, I thought about the series. Like, where is the series going to go? What are the arcs going to be? What is the grand vision for this show and for this story? Because it is a story. And since then, I have come up with the exact story. Like, I know exactly how many arcs I'd want to do. I know exactly where it ends. I know exactly what the end of each character's arc is. And knowing all that, if I rewrote, if we went back to it, we would have all that knowledge, and we would be able to implement a story that like kind of could hint at a lot more of like what's to come. I feel like we managed to put some of that in, but like we could have like been a little bit more informed with like the direction. So from a writing perspective, there's a lot we probably could have done differently. I think in terms of the pipeline, I definitely think there's some pacing issues that now, knowing what I know now, like about the boarding process and the pipeline process, going back and like smoothing out the timing and smoothing out the pacing. There's like a lot going on at once, and I think some parts need more time to breathe. There's just a lot of like that.
I think it's really cool that you mentioned the pacing, because that's probably one of my biggest critiques with it. Like, first off, I want to state that I actually really, really enjoyed the pilot.
Thank you.
Without having much like pre-established, like I wasn't part of that build-up. I was familiar with it, but like I didn't start like actively following it until I ended up at the animation showcase presenting your project for you.
Yes.
That was weird. Thanks, Kev.
Yeah, that happened.
That was a thing. But yeah, the pacing, I think that's probably the harshest critique I see most people do.
I'm definitely, I agree with it. There's a lot, unfortunately, there was a lot having to do with actual just pipeline. Like again, it was kind of messy pipeline. Like the board artists, I had a lot of board artists on this project, and not all of them were in connection, which was something I learned 100%. Like, keep your board artists in contact with each other. There was a lot of fixing like that. I revised the boards, so there was a lot of like one board artist did a scene and then the next artist did the scene right after, and they didn't sync up very well, and I had to kind of bridge it a little bit, and that caused some timing issues. And then once we locked the animatic, we had to lock it at a certain point. Like, locking it is basically like everything cannot change from this point on, and there was a lot of like trying to shift things a little bit to make the timing a little bit more like solid. But at a certain point we did have to like lock it, and if the animation didn't last for long enough, we didn't always have time to go back and have that reanimated, if that made sense. You know what I mean? Like, it became a lot of just like, we had to accept that certain things might not have like the right frame hold, or like there was always some. So that's my own biggest critique of myself, is that I feel like a lot of the pacing could have been improved if, one, the board artists like had more communication between them, so that they knew a little bit how to better connect everything, and also just in general, like the animatics should have had a little bit more of some breathing room at certain points.
If the series gets picked up and you get like an order of episodes, would you want to retread and like kind of do a recut of this, or would you want to just move on after spending so much time on this particular story?
I personally, I feel like even though it has, pacing issues and some technical issues, like, because most projects do, especially the pilots, like at a certain point we kind of went, as long as like everything like flows like okay, and the character, like the story gets told okay, and the animation gets to shine, it was kind of what we accepted, like, or at least me, from like the side of the editorial side and the more like head of it side, because that's none of that has none of the artists and anything had anything to do with like the pace, like all that was kind of on me. So that's my thing of like, next time I would do a lot, I would pay much more attention to that. But if it was up to me, I would love to just go forward in the story, like with it already, like Alistair already at the hotel, and start it there. Yeah. But if we were to redo the episode, or if we were to redo the first episode, I think a lot of it wouldn't change. But personally, I think I would want to do something different, because why just do the same thing a second time?
Right.
And if it was
Sam
me,
Raimi
I
did
would.
it.
Yeah. I if it was up to me, I think if I was redoing anything, I would probably just make the musical aspect of it a lot more like bombastic, like maybe make a big opening number, or like some anything to just make it stylistically like or content wise different, even if the story kind of felt similar, like the story beats. But personally, I wouldn't even want to do that, because I think what we made was still so special. I wouldn't really want to remake it. I wouldn't want to be like, oh, this needs to be improved. Like, I'd rather just improve from episode 1 and just go on from that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just you already finished it. Just keep making more of the rest of the story.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to like waste the first episode with like, oh, how does Alistair get to the hotel again a second time? Like, and also would kind of retcon what we made, and I don't really know if I'd want to do that. If that, like, I'm like, what we made is special, and I think it says a lot. And even if you just start it with, this is this guy that's helping run this hotel, and this is what it is, I feel like that would be enough. And
the other reason why I asked is because if it became a series, it would obviously this would be part of continuity, but at the same time, you also kind of have to expect anyone watching it, say it was on a streaming service or something, might be clicking in on, and that's their first gateway into the series. And so,
yes, yeah.
So having a kind of a quick recap at the beginning of the first episode is probably the most ideal.
Oh, yeah. I think some kind of recap would be a good idea. And so even if it was like just the recap was like this little thing that plays like before, obviously like the next step of the process, the next step of this adventure is seeing what the future of the series will be. Because I'm very, very, very determined to make it a series, whether that's a series that gets picked up by a studio or if it's a series that we try to crowdfund. But either way, like I do want to continue this as an animated thing. So
yeah,
I think it really would just depend on, you know, if it did get picked up, it would depend on what the studio thought would be a good way to start it, you know. They could just...
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you been pitching it at all, or are you planning on pitching it? Or?
That's the plan. I definitely want to be a little bit careful with, like, you know, just being like, oh, I don't want to like spell out our plan right now, because it's so early on. But I'm definitely like, that's definitely kind of like the next step is like I plan on making a video at some point, like kind of explaining like what the reality is of the next step. Because I know a lot of people are already going, you know, where's the next episode? And some people are kind of like jokingly going like, oh, we can't wait to wait 2 years for the next one. And that's kind of like the reality that we have to now face is to continue the show. I personally don't want to do that. I don't want to just go, all right, time to take 2 more years to make episode 2, because knowing the series and knowing what episode 2 is, it's really fun, but like all we really get to do is episode 2 establishes the main villains of the series. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's fun and it's going to be satisfying. But then it's like, oh, we wait another 2 years for episode 3. Like that's not feasible for a project of this scale. So it really, the next step will always be like how realistically can we create the series? And my aim is to do a season, but with that we need a budget. You know, we need like a budget to pay people. We'd either need to pay multiple teams to work on multiple episodes at a time, or we'd need to join up with maybe a small studio, but all of that requires a budget or funding or financing. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know. As of right now, I don't know. We were going to try to start exploring the options of pitching first to see, you know, because you never know. But the exploration of how to continue it as an indie series is not like out of the picture. I think a lot of people are like, they don't know whether or not like now it's just pitching and no go if it's no pitching, or are we going to continue it as an indie show? The truth is we are considering both options. It's just that it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
I'm looking at it right now, and you have basically 2 million views within a day.
Which is crazy.
No, that is amazing.
I'm so like everyone watching this who contributed to those views, like thank you, because holy crap.
Yeah, I'm very envious that you and your team managed to make a whole pilot all on your own.
That's crazy. I still like am floored by it. Like a lot of it, like I cannot take full credit. Like it would not be possible without Patreon support, and it wouldn't be possible without merch sales. But like just the fact that like we didn't even have to do like, you know, an initial Kickstarter, like a lot of projects do have to do. Like I think like I have nothing against people who use Kickstarter. I think it's a really, really good option. But like the fact that you know, you can create things even without that if you just work towards like, you know, just getting a nice team together and just trying to make something out of passion, like, and then you can work your way up to a Kickstarter, or, you know, because like Kickstarter is probably what we would do if we wanted to make a whole season independently. We'd probably be like, let's do a Kickstarter for a season, you know what I mean?
Plus also it's just kind of amazing that like thanks to the internet, there's these particular projects have a chance, you know, like I can't imagine.
Yes, no, exactly. I think that's
without having like the YouTube and like having the 2 million views, like showing that there's interest in the story, I can't imagine a lot of studios being like, yeah, let's animate this show about sex, hell, and everything else, you know? So like this gives it a huge fighting chance, and that's just awesome.
Yes, I agree. I think the internet, like while the internet is kind of a double-edged sword, it can be really like hard to exist on the internet. You know, there's a lot of like things that are stressful about the internet, but also I think the beauty of the internet is that any project can find its audience, and that gives every project a chance. And that's why we're seeing so many more projects, even at studios, that have more of a there's a lot more diversity and perspectives of stories being told. And it's all, I genuinely do think that's because the internet is so like the right audience can find it. They're not just catering to like middle America TV broadcast anymore. You know what I mean? Like projects of all kinds are having a shot to be made because you just start to make it, and the people who love that sort of thing or want that sort of thing will find it, and they are the ones contributing to the views. So there's no like, we gotta do this because these people like this, and there's no like focus groups for the internet, you know? So I think that's like the magic of the internet, and I think that's why like crowdfunding is so amazing, because it's the idea getting the funding, not just a studio executive going, I like this idea. You know, it's the internet choosing what ideas get, you know, funded and supported. And I think that's really cool. And so many amazing projects are being made that way. And I want to continue to see that.
Whatever you say, slut.
Ouch! Ooh, such an insult. Let me know when you come up with something creative to call me, you sack of poorly packaged horse shit. Tell the missus I said hi. Schnuckums.
Hell yeah.
Oh
Nolan's
no.
here.
Hello, Nolan.
I am drunk.
Oh,
Hi.
What happened?
Fun.
Hi, Vivzie.
Hi.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot the podcast was happening. I was already 2 shots in, so here we are.
Nolan's me from last episode.
Yes, I am.
He's bringing the Nolan energy.
Yeah, big Nolan energy.
I'm bringing big
This
Nolan
is the part
energy.
where people are like, I don't know, I've been listening to this for a while. We need to spice things up. And then Nolan comes in, 2 shots.
Oh.
Spicy.
Yes.
Okay.
Nolan, say something spicy.
You say that. Something spicy.
It's great.
Cajun jambalaya.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
I love
What's your favorite jambalaya, Nolan?
I actually had some jambalaya from who's that guy? Flavortown Man.
Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri. I went to First Street Live, which is a place in Kentucky.
Wait, when were you in Kentucky?
And it was quite possibly. I was in Kentucky last year for the Skills USA competition nationals. My partner, I'd said I didn't want to go, and nobody wanted to do it with my partner, and my teacher basically begged me, and I was like, okay, fine. And then I went to Guy Fieri's restaurant. I had some jambalaya there, and I was like, wow, this is the most mediocre jambalaya I've ever had. Flavortown, more like bland. Fuck you, I'm drunk.
In fairness, did you have the donkey sauce?
Donkey sauce?
What the fuck did you just call me?
No, he has donkey sauce. It's like his thing. It's like donkey sauce, I think. Did I say it right?
That
That's
sounds
the
like
most unappetizing thing I've ever heard. Who does that?
Guy Fieri. Hold on, Guy Fieri.
that sounds like what he calls his semen in like bed. Yeah, it's like
it's a thing. Google it.
He's like, hey baby, let me take you to Flavortown with my donkey sauce, and she's like, wow, that is like my like female boner gone entirely.
I feel like Guy Fieri would say that.
Guy Fieri in bed. I want to see that. I'd pay money to see that.
I hope he'd say that. That's great.
Is he like? Has he become self-aware? I've noticed that.
I think he's self-aware. I think. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's been posting himself, like edited into memes. So yes,
Did he did someone like turn on Skynet and give him self-awareness? Because I'm so confused by that. Because he seemed like so unaware, and that was his thing, and then he like shifted, but he's still Guy Fieri.
Yeah,
maybe if you drink enough of that donkey sauce, your like mind opens, you know.
I think the third eye on your like forehead just wide opens.
Like that meme where it's like where it like slowly like you're more enlightened, and he's like drank a bottle of donkey sauce, and then it's like blah, and he understands everything.
My favorite self-aware celebrity is Tony Hawk, because he's just living in an existential nightmare where somebody goes, "Are you Tony Hawk?" He goes, "Yeah." "Why?" And he just doesn't know how to respond. Poor Tony.
Why, Tony? Why?
Poor Tony Hawk.
Tony, if you're out there, I just want to let you know I support you. You may be 50 years old, but I bet you can do a mean half pike.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm so sorry I derailed the podcast. I
was gonna say we had like a whole hour of like just this like in-depth animation conversation. Nolan just comes to the wall like the Kool-Aid man and being like, "Yo, donkey sauce."
This is the twist.
That's great.
In all fairness, Jim was the one who brought up donkey sauce. All I said was, "Hey everybody, I'm fucking ass blasted." I'm like Scott Pilgrim, where I drink one drink and I'm already like 3 shades to the wind because I rarely drink ever. You guys caught me. You guys caught me in the vulnerable hour. What's up?
Actually, who on the podcast isn't like a lightweight? Because I know I am.
I don't drink, so I'm not any weight at all.
I don't know if I am or not, because I used to never drink, and then since moving to LA, I drink. I don't drink all the time, but I drink. I've been to enough parties where I've gotten at least relatively drunk. The drunkest I ever got was definitely like I had my first hangover, because I've always like avoided. I'm like, I'm never having a hangover.
Same.
And so I had my first hangover after the Hazbin Hotel crew screening. We went to a bar in LA called the Edison, which it's awesome. It's a speakeasy. So it's like, it's got a dress code. You can only go if you like, you don't have to be wearing like decked out in like 1920s stuff, but some people do. They have a burlesque show in the bar. They play, they had, the first time I went, they had Lottie Renegar's art on the like videos on the wall, which anybody who saw the pilot, the opening is like a total like tribute to her.
Oh,
so like
when I walked in there,
I was like, yeah. So I was just like, oh man, this place is like perfect for the after party. So we went there, and they sell absinthe there. There's like actually there's a girl who goes around in a green fairy costume, and she's called the Absinthe Fairy. and like they literally just sell you little bottles of absinthe. But at the party, I was already like 2 Long Islands in, which I can usually handle like 3 Long Islands and then I'm set. Then I'm like, all right, I'm good. So I had 2 Long Islands and then a whole cup of absinthe someone gave me. And then I had a shot of vodka before leaving, and I like was ruined. Like,
yeah, that would do it.
I was ruined. I don't even remember how many times I threw up.
There's a bar in LA where you can look at Lottie Reiniger stuff and drink absinthe.
It might be that place. I swear. Do you remember what it was called? The Edison?
I've never been to
just
LA.
in general. Oh, okay.
I just think that's really cool. Like if I were like, something like Salvador Dali did when, Prince Ahmed first played or something. Like he was like, let's kick these back and watch these pictures move,
So you mentioned burlesque. Cute. I just want to like semi-brag about this, but I'm in a burlesque show this weekend, and it's called Nerdgasm, and it's like a Area 51 theme. I think it's Areola 51.
Oh yes.
That's great. That's so cute.
And so I'm kittening for it. So basically it just means I wear a sexy outfit and pick up clothing in between acts. And the 3 of us are dressed up, the 3 kittens are dressed like the aliens from Toy Story.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Just so that we can go on stage, and when the hostess is like talking, we can just be like, the bra.
That's so good. I
posted a picture of my costume so far.
It's so cute. I really like that. That's so cute.
We have tech rehearsal actually tomorrow. I'm excited.
Nice. That's so fun. Like burlesque shows are really fun. Like that's an awesome thing to be part of.
the group that I'm part of, Angel Burlesque, I'm not like officially like a member of their group, but like I performed with them both. I've done group and solo acts and stuff, as well as Kitten. But like I've never left their show not feeling more empowered about my body, because they like make an effort to have like different body types and such.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, like it seems like one of those really like confidence boosting kind of art forms, and like I think that's really cool about it. Yeah, they're awesome. That's awesome.
I thought you up and died or some shit.
Oh, I wish. I've been staying at this crappy hotel on the other side of town. Some broads are letting me stay rent-free if I play nice.
What did we all learn today, kids?
Hey. Well, I got a question about not so much Hazbin Hotel, but well, I'll delete this if you can't say anything about it. But wasn't there some other animation project you were working on that, you know?
Are you talking about the second short that's coming out a bit later?
Remember I did you had a storyboard thing recently on Twitter?
By the way, I remember. So that I can hint to that project, because actually pretty soon we're gonna start talking about it. But in terms of the public space. But yeah, that was for the new cartoon that's been in the works for a couple months. And it's a lot of people seem to think that it was the same team. It's a different team of people, which is why I was getting like tests and stuff. And you did the board test, which your test was really, really fun. I really liked it, by the way. I remember that time, though, being really hectic with Hazbin. So I remember being really bad about getting like back to everybody. That's one thing I also want to work on as somebody who has done testing for studios. Mm-hmm. It's super like rough when you don't like get a like response back, even if it's just like, hey, like, you know, the test was really good. I'm trying to get better about like properly getting back to people. I just get so many people like submitting. But your test was really, really fun for that. But that's a new cartoon that is almost done, and we screened it alongside Hazbin at the crew event, because a lot of the crew had flown in, because a lot of the crew of that project ended up helping with Hazbin to get it done last minute. A lot of them are incredibly talented artists from Mexico, and a lot of them flew in for the screening. And so because of that, the kind of cat's out of the bag a little bit more about that cartoon.
Wait, are you doing Filinos?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No. But I am working with like some amazingly talented artists that did work on the show Villainous. And they are that cartoon is I can talk a little bit about. I want to keep it it's a super different kind of project, because I got to work with a YouTuber who I'm actually a genuine fan of. And he helped me write it, and it's kind of set in the same universe as Hazbin. Like the characters from it are actually characters that, as I was developing the series for Hazbin, I kind of found these characters really fun, but like there wasn't really any opportunity for them to have like an arc in the Hazbin storyline. They're very detached from the Hazbin characters. They felt like fun recurring characters, but I was kind of like, you know, these characters might be more fun as their own thing instead of just recurring characters at the very tail end of like another story.
Are you Kevin Smithing us? Are you making like a?
Is that
where like, because the View Askew universe, I think it was called, where like every one of his movies were like in the same universe, even though they're like they're all detached from each other except for two characters appearing in both.
Oh man, no, that sounds awesome. I guess so, because I really would love to create, like, a lot of people on the team started joking, and that's like because like, you know, the Marvel universe, like cinematic universe, they're like, oh, it's the Vivzie cinematic universe, because in a way I would love to like connect some of my stories. Like, there is one thing that unites almost all my stories, and it's just one singular entity, but I won't spoil what it is, because I want to like actually start making more projects and have like people pick up on it, like, in a way. So I guess in a way I've done that. I'm not really familiar with Kevin Smith, but that sounds like what I'm doing. So
you don't need to
I guess I'm doing it.
Yeah, you don't need to watch Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But I guess in a way it's kind of like that. We're trying to I'm trying to make this project kind of feel like its own thing. Like tonally, it's very different from Hazbin. It's also an adult comedy, but it's much more of a straight full-on comedy because the YouTuber I'm working with is super. He's like a skit comedian and he's insanely talented, but his sense of humor is very just fast and very like quick and witty. And so it's much more episodic. Like it feels much more like a show that could be episodic over like a binge watch show, which is more like what Hazbin is. Hazbin's like a cinematic-y binge watch story narrative where there's like stakes and drama and all these things kind of in one basket. And the comedy aspect is kind of more like the seasoning than it is like the core of the show. Whereas this show, or this project rather, is much more centered around comedy and jokes and characters playing off each other in a workplace. So it's much more tonally, I feel like it's very different. And I'm really anxious to kind of release it onto the world because it was so sudden. Like I ended up talking with this YouTuber and you know, working with him super fast, and it all came together so fast. Like it just was kind of perfect timing because I got an application from one of the artists who worked on Villainous, and he came on as the background artist, and then like a bunch of other people applied who had experience on that show, and so a lot of people who worked on that were part of that production, and so it's crazy having this completely different team. And they were amazing to work with. And they also then, like, a lot of them helped on Hazbin. So in a lot of ways, these two cartoons, like, really perfectly complement each other because one would not really exist without the other in both literal ways. Like, Hazbin would not have gotten done on time if not for the team of it's called Helluva Boss. Helluva Boss would also not exist if Hazbin hadn't been a success. So they're literally, like, kind of like these complementary shows, but they're so tonally different. So I'm really excited to release that beast onto the world, hopefully in a month or so.
Great! Now I'm bummed thinking about it. This thing have any liquor?
Can you please just try to take this seriously?
Fine, I'll try. Just don't get your taco in a twist, baby.
Was that you trying to be sexist or racist?
Whatever pisses you off more.
You mentioned, you said the word straight and immediately made me remember a queer question for Hazbin. So I want to like just throw it out here. I'm really interested in the relationship between Vaggie and Charlie because like it wasn't really established because like out of all the demons so far, it seems like no one believes in the hotel, but Vaggie does. And I want to know what their relationship was like because I know there's like a throwaway line about like I don't touch the gays and stuff.
Yeah, the shitty news lady.
And I personally didn't read Vaggie and Charlie as gay together, like a relationship. I saw them as more siblings for some reason. But like everyone else just kind of implied that they are in a relationship. So I was kind of curious if you could touch upon that.
Totally. I'm more open to talking about that mostly because it's not really a plot point. Like there's a lot of in terms of like there's no like there's like a romance arc or anything. The way we wrote them, originally I knew that I wanted the love interest for Charlie in the series to be a girl character, and I originally it was not Vaggie, but really early on, as we were writing and as the board artists were boarding, a lot of the board artists told me that the way we'd written the characters, they felt like the chemistry with them was that they were already a couple. And that was something that I actually had been thinking about. So I kind of just decided like to really like anchor that in because the characters had that dynamic without like kind of unintentionally. I was writing them with this very comfortable, like close, like relationship, and part of me had wanted to make that a thing, but it wasn't until like the artists of the show were like, I'm boarding it the way like that way. that's how I read it, so I'm boarding it that way. Is that not accurate? And I was like, you know what? Actually, that might be accurate. So it almost like legitimately became a like, it was so that way that like none of us really realized that they were like together until like we were just like, shit, I think they're just together. And now like that's an established canon thing. So they're canonly together from the start, but the way I wrote them was they're the kind of relationship that is already a couple like years in. So they're not really in that really, most of the character dynamics and relationships that I wrote it kind of more with in mind are people who I know a lot of couples like, I don't want to name names just because I don't want to put them on the spot, but like you brought one up earlier, like just people I know who are really, really cozy together and just perfect for each other, and
I love them
have this
so
really
much.
yeah, like I yeah, you know who I'm talking about. So like just like most of the really healthy, happy relationships that I have experienced in my life are people who are just unapologetically best friends. So in a lot of ways, I feel like the characters can read as like siblings and best friends, and Charlie is Vaggie's best friend, but that is also because they are together. You know what I mean?
Because they're fucking yeah.
Because I just feel like it just felt right. It didn't make sense until they were together to me, and then I was like, oh man, this completely makes writing them easier. It makes writing their relationship to like their dynamic, like Vaggie's frustration with Charlie a little bit more like makes sense because like she knows intimately why Charlie is doing what she's doing, and that's another reason why she's extra protective of her, is because she knows kind of some of the stuff that like the show will get into, which is like having to do with Charlie's relationship with her family and stuff. It just makes sense that she's much more privy to the vulnerable side of Charlie in that way. So that's really definitely something that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm excited to rewatch. I'm going to rewatch it again probably tomorrow with knowing that they're actually in a relationship. I think I'm so used to not having queer characters and stuff that like my mind is like, I want to see if like knowing it, I pick up more on stuff.
Yeah, and I think part of it also is that like I think a lot of people did assume that they're not a thing, and I don't blame them for that, because again, it's not really outwardly stated. I've said it at a few cons, and I've said it on Tumblr and stuff, but like it's not like a big like there's no like flashing sign. But part of me is doing that because there shouldn't have to be like they are just together, and that shouldn't be like the folk. You know what I mean? Like it's like they've been together for a while. They're not going to announce that to everybody all the time, and it's just kind of a known thing in this universe. And I wanted to kind of go at it with that lens of like they're already comfortably together, and it's not like that's not a big, focal point. I just wanted to portray. I really like portraying already established relationships. Like even in Helluva Boss, there's a pre-established married couple, because I don't like playing the whole like their whole season, they're like, will they, won't they kind of thing. I didn't want to do that with Charlie and Vaggie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're basically treating them like how most writers would treat a straight couple.
Yeah,
like, it's not, they're not gay for the sake of being gay.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially since the show actually does have or will have rather an arc about a character who does find a love interest. And I don't want to, I'm being careful to like not spoil, but I was just like, if there's other characters whose arcs need to have that kind of like, their arc kind of includes a love interest plot, there's doesn't. They have other arcs, and so the fact that they're together is just kind of a dynamic. It's a dynamic and a perspective. It's not a focal point, of the story. They have other arcs to go on, Their relationship doesn't need to be one of those arcs because it's already there,
I have questions actually.
Jim.
What I noticed this. Yeah, sorry. It's very much like a musical pilot. Like, what are some of your favorite musicals, or what were some of the musical influences on that?
It's one of those REPO.
Oh man, I love REPO. I love REPO.
See, someone else.
I was thinking when I was watching this, REPO was in.
Oh yeah. I am an absolute musical fanatic. I like every time I go to New York, I go for as many days as I can. And I like the last time I was in New York, I saved up a bunch of my money from my freelance jobs to specifically see, like, I think I saw 6 shows. I literally would see 2 a day on the matinee days, and then every other day I would go, because I love musical theater. I try to see everything I can, especially before it leaves, because unfortunately theater it's the difference between theater and like movies is that movies, you know, you can watch whenever, you don't have to see it in theaters. Musical shows end, and then the only way to see them is to like look at a bootleg, which I don't like doing, but sometimes it's the only way to see a show. And so I try to see as many as I can. Like I saw the new Beetlejuice one. It's so good. Be More Chill is one that I really, really love. And I think it's a little underrated and a lot of people should check it out. It's like if you took like a high school, like kind of snarky high school musical with and mixed it with Little Shop of Horrors and made it like video game and like sci-fi themed. It's so good. I recommend that to everybody here. If any of you guys haven't heard of Be More Chill, it's a really good musical. It's literally like, it's about a kid that wants to be cool. And so he takes a pill that becomes an AI in his brain, and the AI is manifested as another character on stage that only he can see. And that character like tells him what to do. And it's all about, but it's a very like, it's actually a very like progressive show too. Like the cast is super diverse and the story is a little bit subjective or subversive. That's the word. It's very, very good. It's a very good modern story. It's a very good story about like, you know, being yourself and, you know, does all those themes. But anyway, I could go about musicals for fucking ever. But Be More Chill was definitely one that influenced, just because it's got that kind of Little Shop kind of feel, but like a little bit more modern. Little Shop is one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, okay, when you mentioned Little Shop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's one of my top favorites. That one's amazing. And then I actually just saw that one.
Feed me, Seymour.
That one was just here in LA and Pasadena, and it starred someone who was actually in Be More Chill. His name is George Salazar, and then it had I forget her name. Audrey, the character Audrey, was played by a trans actress, which was really cool to see.
Really?
And her name is I'm blanking on her name because I had actually never heard of her before. Something Rodriguez. I'd have to look that up again. But it was amazing. Audrey was played by Audrey 2, like the plant was played by Amber Riley, who is from Glee, who I'm a huge fan of. So I was like, cool. This is like so many people I've never seen. Like it was such a different take on the material, but it was so good. So
Little Shop is awesome. I love Little Shop. I still think about watching. I've only really seen the movie, but anytime even as a kid, that made me laugh. It was just such a good musical. I don't know.
It's
I love that
so
musical.
unique.
And it's like if you've seen the original, the movie it's based on, it makes it even funnier. It's like I love it. Anyway,
I haven't. I do need to watch like the original.
It's not like, it's kind of, the original Roger Corman movie is still like sort of a take on horror movies, which I think people forget, which is sort of weird. It's like sort of a self-aware parody, but it's not like he made a couple and it's like maybe not the best one, the original, I mean, but it's still like worth a watch, because you'll see the musical a little differently, because you'll go like, oh, that's a reference. I think Jack Nicholson has a small cameo, or he's the person who really likes pain or something. He's in the original and they make references to it in the movie, and I didn't even get that until I saw the original. So stuff like that. I forget. It's been a little bit, but you should do. But I guess my other question is, I noticed. So you went to SVA?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I also went to SVA. I was probably working there when you were there, from my loose understanding of your background.
I graduated in 2014. Were you there before that?
Yeah, I was like the guy in back of Beckerman's class, so that was me.
Oh shit! Oh, nice. That's awesome.
I was like the projector guy that he was like, Jim, play that.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Jim, are you like casually like in everywhere, like in continuity? Like...
Yeah, you're just.
You didn't. Oh man, you figured it out. Yeah. In terms of animation, I've been everywhere. You know, I was actually the one who pitched the Good Dinosaur, but I left and said he could.
I want to like go like
Good Dinosaur.
Pull out like newspapers of like animation premieres, and Jim's just like Photoshop in the background of all of them.
Oh, I was the one who was whispering.
It's like
his ear going like
he's like Bernie Sanders or Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and then Izzy is like slowly stepping back in horror. And then Jim's behind her. All of a sudden, he's like,
"Uh-oh!"
And he's like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Hey, it's me, Jim. I am the one. I've done. You know, when Up Iworks was thinking of leaving Disney, I was like, "Yo, fuck that guy. You can do way better." When Don Bluth was thinking of leaving, I was like, "Dude, on your birthday, I've got this cool idea. Get all your friends in a truck. We'll just like leave here, make a movie about a woodpile cat. You're not gonna be a millionaire. You're gonna lose a lot, but you're gonna not be with Disney anymore."
Oh. Yeah. That's
Jim,
the
you're,
dream.
Oh, that's
you're
great.
You're a bastard fiend. I can't believe you did that to Donnie.
I've done all the worst deals in animation. I was somehow a part of telling the person to sign.
He thought Delgo was a good idea and put that into production.
Okay, no, fuck that. That was not me. I was not Delgo. How dare you put that? That was not me at all. I had nothing to do with Delgo. Those are allegations. I refuse to have anything to do with Delgo. I did, however, convince Gendy to do 3 Hotel Transylvania movies, so that is on me.
Hey,
I
there you go.
Yeah.
Why'd you do Gendy so dirty?
So you're guilty. You're guilty of the Macarena.
I was like, look. I was like, look, Popeye would be really cool, but hear me out. What if we did Hotel Transylvania 2?
It was good.
No, those aren't that bad. I'm sorry.
They're charming.
Yeah, I do like them, but then when you watch like Primal or something, you're like, oh, but I would like more of this though.
I mean, with Hotel Transylvania, you can kind of feel the divide between Gendy trying to be himself and Sony, you know, trying to be more corporate.
Oh yeah, no, like that's why the third one's so good, is because the third one's like feels more him than the other two.
Yeah,
I really like.
Yeah,
I've watched the third one a couple of times.
The third one's really cute. I think it kind of waffles around a little too much for my liking, but that's also just because it's just trying to be really cartoony. And so on a visual standpoint, it's beautiful. I just like the story is kind of just not.
I blame all story problems on the Adam Sandler people in those movies. I just go, it was most likely them.
Speaking of waffles, you guys, you ever hear of like a blue waffle? You guys know what that is?
That sounds very familiar to me. I feel like I've heard of that.
Don't do it.
Remember Goatsy? Good times.
Do you guys remember Two Girls, One Cup?
Oh yeah,
I do. I never watched it actually, but I remember when it was everywhere. I was like, you gotta watch it.
I was in the background of that video. People don't talk about it.
He was one of the lemon stealing whores.
Is that what happened in
those
this?
Little whores.
I didn't actually watch it. I just watched people reacting to it.
Yeah, no one knows what it actually looks like.
Well, look at you, Jim. Little Jimmy Jim and his big boy Jim pants.
I think it's time for us to watch it together as a family.
Eat poop or something?
That's the next pizza party. Let's watch.
Yeah, people have told me it's just gross. It's not really like the worst thing. It's just gross.
I directed it.
Oh, that's how we met. I was forgetting. That's crazy.
God, I'm ADR. Fucking wasted shit.
He was very supportive of the women in. He was like, you can do this. Just think of like your past memories. And they were like, yeah, you know what? I think we can.
Jim, the bit's over. You can stop. It's okay.
It's not a bit.
I was actually on that set. Are you not the director?
I gotta go.
What a performance! Why, I haven't been that entertained since the stock market crash of 1929. So many orphans.
Stop right there. Cabrón, hijo de perra. I know your game.
Do we want to do questions from the Twitter?
At Guy Named Crystal, what are some common misconceptions about animation production that you're tired of hearing?
That it's super, that like fucking mostly about hindsight. Everybody's like, oh, why didn't they do this instead? You're stupid. I used to fall in that trapping, but like, you know, a lot of people just like fucking like, oh, why didn't they think about this? What are they, stupid? And I'm just like, you don't know shit. Shut up, idiot.
Oh,
I'm trying.
I'm trying to offer up suggestions.
Alternative question. Viv, how would you feel if there's a 2-hour video that's entitled Hazbin Hotel is bad and here's why?
And here's why it's garbage and here's why. I would think you have way too much time on your
Would you be prideful?
I think you should be.
I think it would be a mix of things, because I think personally, like I don't think, like, I think criticism is like a really valid thing. It's just that when someone wants to just like, because if anyone felt compelled to make a 2-hour long thing, like I guess it would just depend on the content. Like I feel like a lot of things like that really get into like speculative stuff or like assumptions or like personal attacks and stuff. So like that's like nah. But I think personally I'd just be like, wow, like I'm amazed that someone felt compelled to spend days of their life like making a 2-hour long video.
This is what I do.
Like something.
I would have a viewing party. Like just straight up.
I feel like it sounds like something like, if that actually ever did happen, it sounds like the perfect thing to like get a bunch of friends, get really drunk, and have a viewing party.
You could do like a
that's
whole.
Like you've made it when someone makes a 2-hour long video about how something is garbage.
See, that's such an animation thing, because no one would do that for like a huge live action show. But like, both SpongeBob and Steven Universe have those.
I guess
right?
the closest I've ever seen to someone making like multiple hour videos is like Game of Thrones.
Oh,
but
they
those
do
are
that
really
for Game
entertaining.
of Thrones.
Yeah, like I've seen I really like Lindsay Ellis's videos, and
so good.
She did a video.
Oh yeah,
about,
that's true.
The hot takes about Game of Thrones, and I haven't even seen the show, but I really liked those. I was like, that's pretty fun. But that's like the closest I've ever seen to someone making like multi-hour long videos about like a live action show. It's like something that like really was character driven, and they did a lot of things like kind of wrong near the end from what I hear. I can see people getting really compelled as to like character arcs being like really mistreated and stuff, because as a creator like who takes character arcs and characters really like seriously, like I can see like if somebody's on that journey with the character, I can see someone being like really upset where actual things were disregarded for the sake of like ending it or the sake of like a twist or whatever. Like that's kind of transparent, you know, if that, you know. So I understand why people like would be really like upset by that. But in terms of like some of the animated ones I've seen, it's usually just people getting really upset over like, there's a lot of like the whole inconsistency of styles and like stuff like that. And I understand being super put off by certain things, but like to ramble about how the team has no talent and stuff or is lazy for like 2 hours, I'm just sitting here like holding my face like, oh, don't call anybody animation lazy. Like it's so
biggest pet peeve. That is.
I hope I didn't do that ever.
Peeve. No, I've seen them say about people's backgrounds and say like, oh well, they never did this before, and then I'll be sitting there like, I actually do know that, and you're wrong, and I'll like be yelling at YouTube by myself.
Yeah, no, well, I'll do that too. I'll like, someone will have like a take that's just so assumptive, and I'm just sitting here going like, no, that's completely untrue. And you're like, and the funniest part, and people will do this with my work, and they do it with there's always somebody out there who will do this with anyone's work, but they'll make something up or make an assumption, and then they'll criticize that assumption. And you just sit there and you go, well, that wasn't even the case from the start. Why are you complaining?
Oh no, people do that a lot. Like, what was that Brie Larson thing that people twisted into this weird that she hates all white guys thing? And I was like, trying to explain to someone the real context of that quote, and I was like, you know, it was really just about like how she wanted people at a press day to not just be white guys, and most of the people who actually are employed to do that are very much for that. So it's really nothing that has to do with you. And then they just stand there like, yeah, but I think she hates white guys, Jim. I was like, all right, you know what? Never mind.
It's like,
forget it.
It's like context. What's that? No.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's still true that she wants lesbians to top or something. I need that to be true.
I mean,
what are you?
I don't know that quote, but sure.
Basically, I think at like a panel or like a press thing, there's a part where like something happened beforehand that involved lesbians, and then it was like her turn to speak, and she's like, "How do I top lesbians?" And then immediately the host is just like, "Oh, well, the lesbians, the audience would love to teach you," and it's a cute little fun quote.
Oh, that's cute.
I
like her.
Bree's great. I love her.
Fun.
I love her as Abed's girlfriend in Community.
She ruined Captain Marvel, the bitch. Ah!
Oh no.
That's it. That's the joke. Thanks for coming, everybody.
This is why Martin Scorsese doesn't respect Marvel.
What?
What?
Martin Scorsese.
Was it him? No, wait.
George Bush does not care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanks, Kanye. Appreciate it. I'm on fire, you guys.
The ghost of Akira Kurosawa doesn't like Man of Steel.
Akira Kurosawa said, "This is fucking bullshit."
He's actually a big Pizza Party fan.
Yeah.
What?
True story, bro.
At this point,
Akira Kurosawa is?
Yeah. Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that
He loves Pizza Party. He's always
Remember
like,
that time like Justin Bieber thought if Anne Frank was alive today, she'd be a believer?
Oh my god, you said this before.
No, that was the worst.
I remember that and thinking like I can understand if he put into context that he's like, I'm a pop star and my target audience is like her age, and like I could see how you could get that quote to be something, and like he so fucked it up so bad that
I don't.
It was just so. Yeah,
Wait.
Was he wrong though?
That happened. I thought Pan was just being Pan, just throwing random quotes or like
no,
shit.
No, that really happened.
I think he wrote that in. He wrote that in a book, like a guest book in the Anne Frank house.
What?
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's Justin Bieber is awesome. Thanks, Justin.
I can't believe it.
Is he wrong though?
You can't believe it?
Oh, you beat me to it.
What kind of music was Anne Frank into?
Izzy said it, giving credit where credit is due. I support lesbians like Brie Larson does. Okay, actually,
what do they listen? I got a question. Well, what did they listen to back then? You know, like did Anne Frank listen to the Beach Boys? Or...
What did lesbians listen to?
1940s. Like,
okay, what was? My knowledge doesn't go further back than the Beatles in the 60s.
Jim was born in like 1876. He should be able to tell us.
She probably listened. I don't know what German teenagers listened to in 1943, but I would assume. I would assume maybe like Bing Crosby or something like that, like Al Jolson. Probably. I don't know. I haven't read that book in a little bit, so I read it when it was originally written.
You mean to tell me that? You mean to tell me that Anne Frank was a total tool who listened to fucking Ben Crosby? Really? Damn. If she were alive today, she'd be like, Jim, fuck, dude. Like,
oh my god.
I mean, she probably listened to like, I don't know,
fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks, whatever.
Oh yeah, Nightcore.
Yes, they were. I can prove it. I was there
in the 40s.
In the 20s and 30s.
Alvin and the Chipmunks was a thing back then, right?
No,
wasn't it in the 70s?
They came out in like the 50s or 60s.
Alvin and the Chipmunks is omnipresent. It never not existed.
It transcended, transcended existence. It was there at the Big Bang.
I've heard
they were the first thing that came out.
They're next to the flat earthers or the chipmunkers.
Speaking of flat earthers, okay? Speaking of flat earthers, today at work we have a security guard who constantly comes in and is like, it comes talk to us to make sure, nobody's like broken in or like held us at gunpoint or whatever. And like, I just talk to him on occasion because the dude's fucking fascinating. He's a real piece of work, let me tell you. And like today he was telling me how the Splinter Cell games convinced him to be a 9/11 truther. And but he's not a flat earther though. He has standards on his conspiracy theories. So don't go thinking he's a flat earther because he's not.
Okay, good. That's good.
Yeah, he made that abundantly clear that he is not a flat earther.
I'm glad he's,
Yeah, me too. He's not.
I would talk to him, I guess. If he's not a flat earther.
Yeah, he also plays Sly Cooper. He plays Sly Cooper though, so
Damn.
Yeah, he's good in your book.
Yeah, he's good in my book.
Well, which 9/11 theory does he believe in? I'm curious about that.
I'm assuming that it was the inside job one because that's every basic bitch's favorite one.
Oh yeah, I was hoping it was like a good one, like
Is that like the beams can't melt?
Yeah. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Jet fuel. That is it. That's it.
I like that everyone became a jet fuel expert in 2008 on MySpace.
Jet fuel.
Because they were like, do you know the temperature that jet fuel burns? And it's always like, that's not a piece of information that I've ever really thought about before, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I'll take your everyone just...
That's common knowledge, Jim.
Oh, is it? Is that the day I missed high school?
For someone who's omnipresent and has been in all major timelines, like, how did you not know?
Well, just with animation, I was working on ruining Courage the Cowardly Dog at the time, so I didn't really have time to learn about it.
Jim, are you fucking Doctor Who or some shit? Like, are you like fucking LONZ? 9/11 was an inside job.
I was actually like, guys, just kill Optimus Prime. It'll be so sick.
Oh, I hate you.
Why did you do that, you stupid bitch?
I thought it would sell more toys. It was gonna be cool. What was his name? Hotface? Hot Rod? Rodimus?
Okay.
Hot Rod? Yeah.
Well, he's Hot Rod until he replaces Optimus, and then he's Rodimus Prime.
Yeah, I thought, Rodimus.
Why do you guys like Transformers? This is stupid.
I don't. Well, okay, I don't like G1. I like Beast Wars, and I like Prime, and I like Animated, but everyone that's into Transformers has a huge fucking boner for G1, and it's awful. They have a character called Rodimus Prime.
No, well, isn't that really G2? Because that comes after. Shouldn't that be considered post-movie?
Izzy, Jim, it's okay. You're both virgins.
He has a kid.
That doesn't prove anything.
But okay. While we're on, I like to think that like when Jim's telling them to kill off Optimus Prime, and he's like, it's okay. You could bring him back, beat Transformer Jesus.
I did. That is what I said actually. So that's 100% true.
And then he's like, I need to lubricate. I've been gone for so long. And then he pees for like 5 minutes on screen and everybody's just waiting.
I told them, like, when you kill Duke stays dead. That's our deal, right? And they said, sure. And then
put up your Dukes, Duke.
Duke G.I. Joe?
Yeah, because they were going to kill Duke and Optimus. And then when the Optimus thing blew up in their face, they had that voiceover. They're like, hey, Duke's cool, guys. Don't worry. At the end of the movie.
He fell unconscious or something?
Yeah, they're like, they overdubbed people like in like wide shots. Be like, oh, Duke's permanently unconscious for a bit. And then right before the credits, someone goes like, hey, and Duke's doing great. Don't worry about it. Don't stop buying G.I. Joe toys or nothing. And then they're like, G.I. Joe's are like, yay, America. And then it ended. That is the plot. I just described.
Actually, G.I. Joe is like jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Remember, kids, PSA. That's true. I was there. I swear to God.
Oh my God.
What's funny is you always forget that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about it, like...
Because I keep telling you never forget that.
Well, I mean, I just have so much to remember. Like, I can't remember every single building that fell down.
But
hey,
like,
remember Me, the movie starring the guy from Twilight?
Wait, what the movie?
Oh, yes.
The twist ending?
I remember that. The twist ending is that he's...
Oh, yes.
So...
I love that. I love that twist ending. You know what? I saw The Lighthouse. Same twist ending.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's just in black and white. It's like the same. It's like
explain the
I've
twist.
Heard that's really good. Is it scary?
No, the Lighthouse is actually really good. And sorry, spoilers. It does not end with 9/11. So
damn it.
I assumed not. I assumed not.
No longer interested. Just say it.
Let's explain the ending to Robert Patterson's
Who, me? Or
Remember
who's
Me?
explaining it?
Okay, well, essentially the movie's about it's a romantic comedy and whatever.
I have a question. Have you seen the real movie or just the ending?
No, just the ending.
See, I've only seen the twist. I've never seen the movie.
Look, it's about
like a romance, right? It's like completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it was like a
it's a completely different plot.
And I think
then there's just twist is that he's gonna be dead.
No, the twist
just like
what
surprise 9/11
because people are smoking and you're like must not be nowadays. And then there's like he's like waiting in this office building and then like someone's like what day is it, and then like the teacher in a classroom that's completely unrelated they go it's 9/11 and then
it's like a Mortal Kombat fatality. He's like, surprise, you're dead now.
And then he's like, what floor am I on? And go, definitely one of the ones that you die instantly. And he was like, excuse me, who are you?
He was like, I'm Robert Pattinson. That's the joke. Thank you everybody for coming. He was like,
don't worry guys, in a couple years you're all gonna think I'm a good actor. I'm gonna be in some good movies.
Can't wait for Batman.
Out. But right now, what
is it gonna work out though? Like really, Rob? Are you sure? Buddy?
I think the Batman will. I hope it works out. It's got good,
The only thing that's gonna work out about the Batman is Robert Pattinson because he needs to get fit for it. That's the joke.
That's good.
Thank you. I'm here too often. Actually, I need a hobby.
I thought podcasting was a hobby.
Oh God, help me! I need another hobby.
Wait, do we have more questions?
Oh, we have plenty.
Here's a question. Crap. At run the Jorge's. Have you seen Camp WWE? It's an animated original on the WWE network.
I don't trust the WWE
network.
It's a streaming service.
Yeah, because there's a lot of wrestling backlog. I would know because Super Eye Patch Wolf talks about it a lot. He likes wrestling.
Oh yeah, he made a video on just like the Undertaker, and I know nothing about wrestling, but that video is very fascinating.
To be honest, like Super Eye Patch Wolf is not only a very attractive individual, but his voice is really, really nice to listen to. He could talk about what the fuck he wants, and I'm gonna watch it.
You hear that? You hear that, John? You gotta admire her.
Yay,
Michael. Admire. It's Halloween. Yeah.
But Camp WWE, do you know what this is?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
It's like all the WWE stars like John Cena, Paige, whoever else is in there, and they're all kids at a camp. But my favorite part is just the fact that John Cena just looks like a recolor of Dipper.
Dipper, you gotta stop Bill Cipher from doing a suplex on Grunkle Stan. No.
Speaking of Gravity Falls has been out. Like the time between like it being over and production, it's been there's been more time of it being over than it had aired at this point.
Yeah, it took like 10 years for them to air 2 episodes. Good times.
It didn't take you 10 years.
That's how it felt.
It might as well have been fucking 17,000 years.
That's how my webcomic works.
That's because you're bad at time management.
I'm sorry. I worked so much on these videos I don't have time to draw as much.
Did you just fucking say sorry to my face?
Damn straight.
Pan, if you ever say yeah, if any of you ever say sorry to me in my general direction, we're gonna have to fucking fight on the side of the street because I'm
3, 2, 1. Sorry.
In your genital directions?
Oh. Come on, Jim. Come on. Gotta get the dream roll.
Okay, all right. 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
I'm fucking disgusted with all of you.
Viv, you want to join in?
No.
What is
you don't have to. You don't have to.
Sorry.
No, you don't.
Just saying sorry. There we go.
Yeah, you gotta incorporate that into the script.
You know, Vivzie.
Did I just lose all the points?
Can I be real? I'll be going to be real with you for a second. When I met you at MomoCon and I yelled at you because like I had to like get everybody together, I was like, man, this Vivzie person, she's pretty cool. But now that you've said sorry directly to my face, I still think you're cool, but that was pretty embarrassing. So
wait, I did not. I feel like I didn't meet you at MomoCon. Anyway, sorry.
She was like sitting next to you, Jim.
I remember.
Was she?
Yeah. No. She was after you went up to talk about Mongol Gulch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't blame Jim for his cataracts. You know, he's just so old.
Yeah. Well, I was busy thinking of other animation projects going to ruin the future.
You mean like
close enough? I've been working on that one pretty hard, man.
Well, now it's coming to HBO Max, so you can't even make a joke about that.
See, that's what they think. But
okay.
Oh shit, that's news.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about HBO Max?
HBO Max because
I'm curious about it.
Well, you know what I like about HBO Max is apparently if you already are paying for HBO and have AT&T, you get it automatically. So I like that because I don't have to pay anything. So if you're one of those people.
Let's explain HBO Max, because upcoming for cartoons, we got the creator of Chowder creating a new, Jellystone, essentially a crossover of all these Hanna-Barbera characters, namely Yogi Bear. We got a new Looney Tunes show. Yeah. What's it called? The J.G. Quintel show that never
Close
came
enough.
out. Close enough is finally coming out, motherfucker.
The release date is close enough, I guess.
I knew one of us was going to make the joke, and it wasn't going to be me.
After 50 fucking years, it is out. Well, I mean, it's coming out. It's not out yet.
There's Adventure Time. Did you mention that?
Oh yeah, Adventure Time, the new whatever it's gonna be. Yeah, that's happening.
I think they signed like a South Park is going to be exclusively there. Rick and Morty exclusively there.
I hope Jake gets wrapped in the new Adventure Time. That'd be cool. You know, just throwing that one out there.
Speaking of HBO Max, I don't know if this one's true or not. I literally just am seeing it on my dash right now. There's something called Tuned Out by the director of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's going to be synopsis is Max starts seeing cartoon characters in his everyday life, but they're not just there for laughs. They're helping Mac get through a rough patch in his life.
That's just fucking.
That's just out of Jimmy's head.
Yeah. This has been done.
That's happy on Sci-Fi.
I know that does sound pretty done, but I think it's just because I'm a fucking massive Who Framed Roger Rabbit fan that I'm like, could this be a sort of Roger Rabbit revival in his hands? I don't know though, because isn't Robert Zemeckis the one that went on to like make some of the worst movies?
Yeah.
Like,
look, he's not making Polar Express or any of those mocap movies anymore. It's fine.
If it's not mocap, then it'll probably be okay. But that sounds
things.
cool if they do it right.
Hey, as someone that likes Who Framed Roger Rabbit, what was your take on the Disney Afternoon show?
There was a Disney Afternoon show about Roger Rabbit?
Aren't you talking about Bonkers?
I said Bonkers. Yeah,
I didn't hear that. I think you cut out.
Oh, yeah. There's a show called Bonkers. It's basically the same premise as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, only it's all cartoon, and it's weird. But I liked it.
The cop was hot.
Yes, I remember not watching it a ton, but I really liked Bonkers. I thought it was really cute.
Because
it was pretty bonkers.
The biggest interesting fact about Bonkers, though, is that there's the last season was actually produced as the first season, and I guess there might have been something that happened, they lost there was a fire or something. I know there's a bunch of urban legends around it, but there's the Miranda Wright episodes where he's partnered with a female cop, and then there's the Lucky Pickell episodes where he's partnered with a male cop, and he has a slightly different design. And as far as it aired, the Lucky Pickell episodes happened first, and then the Miranda Wrights, there's a episode that was made to kind of retcon them together, but apparently the Miranda Wright episodes were animated first but was pushed off for some reason.
So the continuity's fucked.
Yeah. It's but I find that super fascinating and weird.
Yeah, that was my fault too.
Oh, damn it, Jem.
Guys, I'm gonna level with you all. Jim?
Yeah.
To be stopped.
Sorry.
Immediately.
Well, next MomoCon, we're going to or whatever convention we end up going to, we're together. Pillowcase on your face.
Oh, don't do that. I'm too busy restructuring the Nostalgia Critic's business practices.
Uh-oh.
Did you guys watch the Quentin reviews video?
Yes, I love it.
He's been sending me updates on it. He did a really good job.
It's so good.
I watched it twice. I tricked my roommate into watching it.
I only watched like the first half because he sent me like so many updates on the second half. I already remember basically how it goes.
It's like the best piece of criticism in Nostalgia Critic. I think
a lot of my friends like destroyed the Wall review that he did like, recently.
Fuck that.
Yeah, a lot of my friends were like roasting the shit out of that because it was like so bad. And I was just like, oh man. I've never seen that movie, but like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that review was like absolute trash.
Yeah. It seemed pretty bad.
I'm sure like he spent several months on that. I'm sure he was like, yes, this is going to be my magnum opus, the greatest review.
I'm sure they thought it was a Didn't they sell the album?
Yeah. Yes. And then it got DMCA'd. Dude. It got DMCA'd.
Well, of course it did. I mean, did he feel it topped his Moulin Rouge review?
If you listen to the post-credits thing, you can hear one of them say, "We're never going to top this," and I'm like, "Oh, honey, I think you will."
Oh no,
you wouldn't even have to try, and you would.
What's funny is like all those memes about Nostalgia Critic and like all the bad skits he's been doing, and it's always been kind of around that no one likes what he's doing currently. But the Wall review was like the tipping point where everyone went, "Okay, wait, this is beyond."
This is insane.
Yeah.
Like I've had an idea for like a super overly ambitious review, but hopefully it doesn't end up like that.
Can you like vaguely talk about your idea?
Well, I don't know if I'd ever do it, but essentially it's of the video games of Twisted Metal, and in those games they would have like these comic book motion comic cutscenes, and I would basically try to string something along and review every single game. I don't know how that would turn out, but yeah, I always wanted to do that.
I think it'd be cool. That sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah, that's a lot different than you trying to make it an entire skit with a bunch of different other and like.
Also, I mean, Pan doesn't know anyone from Slipknot, so it wouldn't be like.
Damn. Are there any musicians who watch the podcast that want to help me with a musical review? Please, Melanie Martinez, if you're there, please message me back.
If Guy from Slipknot and his son want to be on the Pizza Party podcast and discuss, it was like meeting the
Guy from Slipknot.
I mean, I don't usually handle bookings or anything, but I would be down for that.
Yeah.
I just love
if anyone who
Slipknot.
Wait, does he have a name? I don't really know.
I'm sure he has I don't know it, so I can't talk either. But like, it's funny. The guy from Slipknot.
The whole comments section would be like, Jim, what the fuck? His name is Steven Knott.
His name is Corey Taylor.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what? The Nostalgia Critic shouldn't have gotten Slipknot. He should have gotten Conan O'Brien's other team, the Slip Nuts.
I love the Slip Nuts.
We're the Slip Nuts, slipping on nuts, clowning around and slipping on nuts. We're the Slip Nuts, slipping on nuts. Look, he fell down. I slipped on some nuts.
What I didn't get about the Mr. Slipknot is that he like, why was he in that? Like, that's the part I never understood. And then
apparently their son was a fan of Nostalgia Critic.
Is his son?
Yeah, it was his son was a fan, and his son is in it. I think.
Is his son like from 2000? Does his son live in 2009?
I wish I could live in 2009. That'd be awesome.
Speaking of,
I think it's kind of cool that like some like of like the like there's always like that weird disconnect where it's like celebrities like kids are fans of these creators. Like it's kind of cool. I'm like, whoa, it's like, oh my god, they're actually like interested in things that kids would be interested in.
My new favorite TV trope now is when famous people have kids they're fan of YouTubers, so the famous people collaborate with the YouTubers.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know Finn Wolford is a fan of a few of my friends and stuff, and they've done collaborations, and it's cool to see. I'm like, he's such an amazing actor.
Yeah, he apparently listens
Really?
to this podcast. So
We had his brother on a couple weeks ago.
Hey Finn, hey Nick.
What's up?
Hi.
I'm drunk.
You guys are rad.
Nick, they ripped
guys are
off.
rad.
Nick, they ripped off your show. Netflix has a live action version of
Toy
Last
Story.
Kids on Earth. No, it's called. I forget what it's called. But it's basically Last Kids on Earth, but live action and for teens. It's weird.
Oh no.
You know, I work at this pizza place that's owned by Italian people. I know that's weird, but anyway, they have Italian TV on all the time. And there was this one cartoon that looked like kind of Klasky Supo style.
Sweet.
And I tried to tell Pan about it, but he was like, I can't find anything on this. So if any Italian people are in the audience and watch cartoons on Italian TV, hit us up.
Is it like Stranger Things? Is it
Avatar? You called it?
It was apparently called the Avatars, but I think it might have been the TV guide might have been broken.
The Avatar?
The Avatars?
That's
my
actually-
god, that's unapologetic.
That sounds like a family sitcom.
The Avatars?
Yeah.
That's like a sequel to Game Over on UPN. It's just about a family that lives inside an internet forum.
Oh, I remember Game Over on UPN.
Yeah, we remember that.
Game Over.
Okay, I know what it is. The TV guide was screwed up because apparently the Avatars is this victorious wannabe Naked Brothers Band wannabe channel.
Naked Brothers Band? You ain't watching no show called Naked Brothers Band.
Nice reference.
Yeah.
I don't even know what he's referencing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on this channel called Por Italiano or something.
Poor Italian? Oh.
No, POR. I think it's Italian for something.
They're pores.
What?
I don't know.
The fuck does that mean? I demand an explanation, you son of a bitch.
I don't know, man. So I messaged OJ Simpson to be on the podcast, but he has not responded.
Wait. Is that a real thing?
Oh no.
His DMs are open. I mean, it's gotta be open for a reason.
I'd fucking do it. I'm mad I didn't think to do it.
I like that you.
Oh my God.
You just went. His DMs are open, so I can do that.
So I asked him to be on a podcast.
Look, I'm trying to get some celebrities on here. You know, we gotta.
Are you messaging them as badly as you messaged a certain YouTuber friend?
Which YouTuber friend?
You know which one. Hey, Nintendo nerd.
Oh, that's not me. That was Nesca. But I just simply wrote to OJ, yo, OJ, want to be on a cartoon podcast? No response.
OJ, you son of a bitch. If you truly didn't kill Nicole, then you would come on this podcast and tell us. Fuck you.
I don't want to feel comfortable.
We need to get OJ and have OJ react to cartoon portrayals of him in Family Guy or Black Dynamite.
I think we'll hit the peak when we get Link. I think that's our peak guest.
Get who?
Linkara.
Oh, that'd be easy. I think. Well,
do you guys have a guess that it's once you get that guest, it's you can't top it.
Yeah, Linkara or Doug. If we get Doug, actually, I think
there you go.
Doug Walker would be awesome to get.
Or the Ghost of Walt Disney.
Oh,
the Ghost
there
of
you
Walt
go.
Disney is a good second choice, but we're having trouble booking him.
Oh, he's frozen.
I don't know. I feel like we peaked I think we peaked guest after we had the diaper fetishes that one episode.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. That was
What?
We had a Knothole resident on who was part of the Sonic fan film. He still listens, so he also we also had our friend Zoe on, who is into eggs, just eggs, and
yeah,
that was a weird one.
It was a great. That was a great episode. Y'all are haters. I'm the one who made that happen. I'm the one who made that happen too.
Vivzie,
so I'll hate comments.
Vivzie, you had some eggs on the Hazbin Hotel.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a whole army of eggs. So is it just eggs, or is it is there something more?
She likes to put egg-shaped things into.
Okay.
And then have to lay them.
Oh yeah, okay, I've heard of that. I heard of that.
It's called the Abi position, and It's called oviposition, and it's a genuine kink. You son of a bitch!
I wasn't kink shaming.
kinks.
I was just explaining.
I need to get some.
I have heard of it definitely, but yeah, I don't think you could do that with the eggs and Hazbin, so I'd hope nobody would try.
By the way, they're voiced by Yukino Joe, and I couldn't figure out where I knew I heard their voice before, but I couldn't like pinpoint it until like later. And it was like a big like, oh.
I'm sure Angel Dust could try it.
He's tried maybe. I definitely Joe is great. He did such a fun job. I loved one of my favorite bits. It's kind of hard to hear a little bit because the music is so swelling, but there's like a part where the Serpentious character first comes in. And there's just a shot where it's like the shot where he's going like, those other cowardly, like he's like pulling the levers. And then the little eggs are just running around in the front. And there's one that he just is like, he kind of like just totters around like across the screen. And then he appears again and he crosses the screen again. And that shot was animated by my friend Gabe. And it just makes me laugh every single time because accompanying with it, like it's a little bit buried in like the final sound design, but the original clip has just layers of Joe just going, and it's just funny. Like every time I watch that shot, I listen for him because just hearing these little minions, like I love the idea that there's just this villain that's trying to be like genuinely threatening, and his minions just sound like gobbling like idiots, and I just love that about them. So those characters were really fun to work on.
By the way, I really love the voice acting. There's a lot of really good moments, like the bitchy newscaster is really solid, and
Faye is fantastic.
And Angel Dust is like, I think like a really big, like I don't think that's a breakout character because I think he was always going to be pretty big, but like he did steal the show. He hammed it up perfectly.
Yeah. It seems like the characters that people gravitate most to are Angel and Alistair, and I definitely think what I love about them is that those are the two characters I've had for a long time, and I've always been very married to their voice. Like not that I ever had voices for them, but like I was very married to how they sounded in my head. Like Alistair, I created very long time ago to the soundtrack of one of my favorite musicals of all time, which it's kind of lame, but it's the musical Annie. And if anyone's heard, I love that musical. It's just so well written. Like the songs are so genuinely good. But there's a song in it called "You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile," and on the soundtrack, the guy singing it is exactly how I wanted Alistair to sound. Like that's always just been the basis for his voice. And even in that recording, he has like the radio sounding effect because it's like a radio host guy. So I was very married to that voice. So I like everybody, like I was like, this is the reference, get as close to this as you can. And the person we ended up casting, Edward Bosco, he's amazing. I love Ed. He's so funny. He's captured the wit of the character really well. Like one of my team members has done her own podcast, and he goes on those pretty regularly. And him and Michael, who voices Angel, will riff in character. And it's so funny hearing how well he just immediately knows like kind of the attitude of Alistair, and he can just play it so naturally. So he really nailed like the attitude of the character, and his tone. He brought a little bit more of like a distinctness to that original idea I had for the character. So he really became it. And then Angel, I always based around like Steve Buscemi kind of was his original base. It was like kind of a higher pitched sort of mobstery sounding, but really distinct. And Michael just brought something to the voice that I was like, it took a few tries. Like he was actually like a callback. And when he just did it, that callback time, it just kind of clicked. And I was just like, this is the character now. So now I can't hear him as anything other than Michael. And that's really fun. So I think Michael did an amazing job. Ed did an amazing job. All the cast did a really, really good job, and I'm really honored to have had them all.
I actually didn't realize how many people who worked on Hazbin actually like interacted or followed with me, because like I remember Angel Dust voice actor. I looked on my Twitter and I was like, oh, they know me. What the fuck? And then like also I'm friends with I need to look because I'm so fucking tossed to the wind. God damn it. Hold on, I know their name. Mexican artist 64, I believe.
Yes, Sebastian.
Sebastian, yes,
64.
yes. Mm-hmm, yeah, he did an excellent job. He's a great animator. He's really cool. Oh
yeah, he's great. Very, very talented. Yeah, like the team had it was definitely an incredibly huge labor of love. Like everyone really put their all into it. Some shots, like people went the extra mile. I remember being really apologetic because with my character designs, they tend to if anyone saw my music video, the Kesha one with the werewolf girl.
Mm-hmm. My friend Aaron's a huge fan of it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I really loved doing that. I still love that song. I still like that character. I'm kind of revamping her a bit. But the thing with that character was she had a lot of details on her, and I was the one handling all that. And I kind of back then I had a lot more energy, and I was a lot more like masochistic when it came to my animation. I was like, you know what? I want all these details, so I'm going to do this to myself. And so going into Hazbin, I kind of had that mentality of like, well, if I'm up for doing this, then it's fine. But then like some of the characters, they just have it turned out beautiful, but I definitely will probably simplify a lot of the character designs because they just have a lot on them that doesn't really need, there's a lot of colors that don't need to be different colors and stuff like that. And I remember it became like such a kind of joke behind the scenes for the cleanup team of like, oh boy, it's a Husk scene. Oh boy, it's an Alistair scene. Like, let's do this. Like, the team had a very like, we're ready. Like, let's do this attitude because like it was a lot of work, but it would be so satisfying in movement. Like when it was all done, it would just feel satisfying. But I was also like constantly I'm just like, I'm so sorry. These characters have these
feel
stupid
that
details on them. Yeah,
because I'm working on Long Gone Gulch right now, and it's not nearly as. I think Long Gone Gulch's characters are more animation friendly than some of the Hazbin characters are, but like it has been some of the most complicated stuff that I personally have worked on. And like I just saw like the next shot that I have is like this like 12-second long shot of two characters standing, and both characters are consistently moving, and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna kill me.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work. Like cleanup is kind of like the unsung hero of animation because an animated shot can look really brilliant, but an animated scene can look brilliant, but if the cleanup isn't like handled in a way that captures all the subtleties, that throws things off, or like good cleanup can really like fix some of the mistakes or make things feel a little bit more crisp. So it's something I've grown a lot of appreciation for.
Because like I felt a little like, because I'm working on it and it's hard to kind of explain to people what I'm doing on it, like because I think initially people think of that like I think I made the reference in here last time we talked about with the mall rats, like you're just a tracer. But like there is a lot of correcting.
Wait, someone said you're a tracer?
No, like there's it's a Kevin Smith reference again, which is funny because I'm not even a fan of Kevin Smith. But
what's going on with you and Kevin Smith?
I don't know. But regardless, the whole point is that it seems like it's just tracing, but there is a whole extra element of like making sure characters are on model, kind of tweaking up small little things, and you'd be surprised of how much people forget. And like what looks great sketchy, but there's just a lot of elements that are kind of forgotten, and you just kind of have to like tweak and change and help. So I get you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I personally love seeing there's a lot of things where complicated character design really pays off. Like I know some shows it's kind of part of the draw. Like I don't watch the show, but I've seen the designs from like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and stuff. Like I'm just like, Jesus, like, whoa, they've got so much on them. But that's kind of part of the charm of that show, from what I understand, is like how like kind of crazy they look and stuff. And in a lot of ways, Hazbin kind of has that aspect because that's just kind of how the character is supposed to be. But at the same time, I do want to try to make it a little bit easier. There's a lot of gradients on the characters that don't really need to be. There's a lot of colors that could be reused. Things like stripes. I do feel like stripes, like, I think like reeling them back is a good idea. But at the same time, stripes are one of those details that can actually add a lot of character without anything being said. Like a character wearing, like, for example, a character wearing a pinstripe suit says a lot more about them than they're just wearing a normal suit. It says that they're a lot more wanting attention, you know, like they're kind of automatically attention seeking. It's a little bit more of like a style choice. I kind of treat it like, you know, when you're picking out your outfit, it's like your outfit says a lot about you. So that's why some of the characters have like these bright pinstripes, because like it says a lot about how kind of boisterous they are. And a lot of the characters kind of, in a lot of ways, has been like, I joke about my characters a lot. In a lot of ways, I always joke because it is like this show about villains and like really bitchy, snarky people. I've made the joke a couple times that it's literally just a show about like a bunch of bitches all trying to be the top bitch. Like they're all trying to be the most flashy, impressive alpha bitch. And I just think that's fun. So there's a lot of characters that are kind of vying for this attention seeking. But at the same time, there's definitely some details that probably don't need to be as powerful or like intricate as they are. So I definitely want to reel as much of that back as I can and kind of simplify their palettes a lot more.
This is a non-animation question. It's also another kind of a queer one, but like I noticed you mentioned on Twitter and a couple of times about like having trans characters. I'm really curious about have we seen any of them in the pilot?
In the pilot? No. It's one of I don't know. It's one of those things where it's definitely a portrayal that I would definitely want to like obviously have someone with that experience. Like I definitely want to like have probably like a way that I could portray it like correctly, you know? And so it's not something that explicitly I've written into any of the characters that appear in the pilot. But at the same time, the way I always kind of view the characters in general is that the characters in a lot of ways, the whole point of the heaven and hell in my universe is that the forms that everybody takes are really what their spirit like were, like who they are. And that's why a lot of them like turn into like creatures and monsters and stuff. Their persona. Yes, exactly. So I always kind of imagine like that, like anyone, like you can kind of put that onto any character you want, because I feel like that's kind of their identity now anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of like something that I don't know whether or not like I feel like I like the idea that anyone can kind of relate to these characters in their own like experience and kind of put that onto the character if they want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. It was just one of those things where like because Hazbin Hotel is pretty queer as far as the character designs go. Like, you know, you have a feminine gay porn star type character. It's just kind of all over the place. So like, you know, it's one of those things where like I couldn't tell, but I noticed I thought you said there was one, and so I was just kind of curious. But that's awesome.
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't know if that's something that maybe people like were saying, but I didn't write any of these particular characters to be trans, but that doesn't mean that there might not be a trans character in the show. Or also like in general, like I feel like the way that you could see the characters in any way is you could see them as a character who was transitioning when they were alive, and then now they've manifested as like whatever preferred, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of ways you could see, like I wanted to leave it as something that like there's a lot of ways that anyone watching this could put their perspective onto the characters in a lot of ways, with the whole them being these other forms when they're in hell and heaven. Like heaven has the same rules, so it's really like open to anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do care, like as when it comes to like any kind of representation too, like I try really hard to make it as like I really put a lot of thought into like how characters like are being portrayed. Like it's not something that I want to just throw out there, you know, like, or do anything that like, you know, like I try really hard to like actually put thought into what I'm putting out in terms of representation in media as best as I can. But at the same time, no character can ever represent all of anything, which is why like there are going to be characters who are like LGBT that are bad guys, but there's also LGBT characters that are good guys, you know, because there's no one character that can represent all of any kind of identity.
I like your approach. I think it's cool.
Agreed.
Thank you.
You're doing fantastic.
But any other
Thank you.
Any other final questions or whatever?
You don't want to keep going on, Pan, infinitely?
It's like
this is
like
actually one of
2
our
hours.
longest podcasts in a while.
Oh crap! And I do also apologize because I know I talk a lot.
Don't worry.
It's the Latina in me. I talk a lot, and I'm very loud.
You've had a lot of interesting things to say. I've just been enjoying listening. Frankly,
look,
you're like the opposite of Mike Mozart.
Oh my God!
Shut up!
This is so weird. I love that we've been bringing up so many past podcasts with you for some reason.
Yeah. No,
is that the clown? I heard about a clown.
No.
Was that the clown? Okay.
Mike Mozart is basically what Jim's pretending to be.
Don't worry. I picked up one thing from my dad. You don't take shit from other demons.
Thank you. I love talking about like anything to do with animation and anything to do with like independent I love talking about the process and explaining like it's a very unconventional project. So I also know that like most of the people that you probably have on this podcast are people who like are used to like studio, the studio grind and things that are much more like run and much more like there's like different pipeline steps and everything. Whereas like the project that I'm making it was much more like it was entirely run through Patreon, or not Patreon. It was funded through Patreon and run through Discord, and like it was super casual and like super like so many of us were from different experience levels. Like some people, we had one of the animators who worked on like we had like everyone from people who were just starting out in animation to someone who worked on Klaus, and like it's just crazy like the amount of range of like experience levels, and everyone like from different parts of the country and in other countries. Like we had people in Israel, Mexico, the UK, Canada, the Netherlands, like everywhere. And it's such an unconventional project because like even though a lot of studios like outsource and freelance, I don't think like none of them are ever like made from all those bits like kind of crammed together. So I feel like it's like there's things to say about it that are probably not what most people like listening to this like like not a lot of projects are made in this particular way. Usually they're from people who have much more experience in the studio system and are run probably a little bit more like traditionally, where this one was kind of just, hey, like let's all make a cartoon and make it happen.
I agree with you. The clown was really corporate.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I wish that clown would just stop doing ads for Burger King. It was like really obnoxious. I actually wasn't on that.
So was it just a clown, like a professional clown?
I guess.
I think he had a clown fetish. Was that it?
No, we don't know that.
Wait, are we not talking about Mike Mozart?
No.
You were on that one. You're counteracting your lore.
I wasn't
there,
on
buddy.
the Mike Mozart.
You weren't?
No.
No, Jim wasn't. It was just us.
See, if I was on, I would have asked him like way too many questions.
No, you dodged a bullet on that one.
I would have been like, wait, I was there. You didn't do that.
All right, question, Jim. Which podcast episode are you the most happy that you weren't on? Like, which one did you dodge the bullet?
This podcast is like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was on the diaper one, so I guess I wish I wasn't. I don't know.
We should end this.
Okay, anyway.
Okay.
I think that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta go, gamers. We gotta reach the stars.
It's late for you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost midnight over here.
10:30.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this the end of the podcast, people?
That's it. Gamer.
Yay. It's almost over. I'm
thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you.
Of course.
No problem. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You're more than welcome to pop in anytime.
Oh yeah.
Next project, come on.
No, let us know.
Totally. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you everyone who's listening, and thank you so much for everything. This was great. You guys are great. And it's really cool of you guys to like have a platform where you bring people in and have them share experiences from like all over. Like it's really cool.
Yep.
We're one of the most progressive podcasts somehow.
Hell yeah.
So good.
All right. So goodbye, every pony.
Bye.
Bye,
I was Jim.
gamers.
Bye.
Peace and love.